state of awakeness and alertness where you can still bring in some information into your brain. My name is Joules. I'm going to be talking about hypnotherapy and neurological reprogramming and how to consciously change your thoughts, beliefs to help you live a more liberated life. So my Reiki journey began back in about 2013. And prior to that, my journey to kind of, I like to say remembering who I am. I don't really like to say the word awakening, but remembering who I really am kind of started when I got into Buddhism. And I was kind of sitting on retreats and doing all this like 10 hours of meditation and suddenly realised that I was not this physical body that I thought I was for 25 years of my life, and suddenly went, who am I? And then what happened then was just a magical journey of delving into different areas of spiritual healing, because I went into a period of therapy for about a year and I sort of started to recognise how my conditioning and my experiences of childhood were quite impactful in terms of how I perceived the world. My central nervous system was a little bit shot. So I just, rather than go to the doctors and seek psychiatric help, which is what I was told to do quite by quite a lot of my family, I just decided, no, I'm going to do yoga and I'm going to find my Zen. So that's what I did. And it created this magical journey of going beyond this perception of Joules, this perception of this character as to who I thought I was. So I ended up studying psychology, went into a psychiatric hospital, but I was also very drawn to supporting people's healing journey, whatever that looked like. And I didn't realise it at the time, but I'm quite an empathic character. I kind of pick up on things from other people. Picking up on the energy is sort of Claire and has kind of spoken about, pick up on energies quite quickly. It used to send me into a bit of tears, but now I can handle it now, which is fine. And I got into Reiki as a form of healing modality just for myself. I wanted some sort of process or some sort of structure to what I was doing, because all these things were happening with my hands, all these things were happening with the body, and I didn't fully understand it. So I got into that as a structure, but I sort of still do healing, but I don't call it Reiki healing anymore. It's kind of, I'm kind of using the term quantum healing, which feels more descriptive of where I am at in my journey right now, in terms of this character as Joules. And quantum healing really is about just finding that zero point. Come on in. In quantum healing, you're kind of coming back to that zero point, you're coming back to that sort of source of creation of infinite possibilities, where there is an opportunity to experience polarity, there is an opportunity to experience duality, which is what we've come here to do, by the way, in my understanding of a human experience, is to experience all of these things that we experience. We can either choose this life, but it's a conscious choice in terms of what Claire has also mentioned. It's a conscious choice what we come here to experience. So once we realise that we're making those conscious or unconscious choices, in some cases, in terms of my own experiences, quite a few unconscious choices in terms of the experiences I've had, but just bringing the conscious choice into awareness so that we can kind of create this space and have the fun, as Claire said, in the playground. My hypnotherapy journey began this year. It was a synchronistic kind of thing. It just landed in my lap and I just thought, why not? I'll just see where this goes. And it's been a fantastic, amazing way of understanding a little bit more about the neuroscience, which is kind of what I was involved in psychology a few years ago when I worked in a psychiatric hospital, and just also a little bit more understanding of how these brains are kind of functioning. And yes, we're all connected to this consciousness field, we're all in it, we are it, and how a lot of the thoughts that we have can be ours, but it's also ours as a collective. It's also ours as aspects of source. So it's just understanding that, and understanding that sometimes when we kind of get onto this journey of meditation and we can sit for some time, and all these thoughts can kind of bypass and we can kind of not get attached to them, they kind of got to come from somewhere, and some of them sort of stay with us for a period of time. So we might have certain belief systems about who we are in terms of how we relate to people from childhood. If we've had traumatic experiences, we might relate to people in relationships a certain way because of how we've learned to get love or how we believe that we need to be in order to receive love. So hypnotherapy is really a way of just getting to the root of that, I feel. Not just about this life, but also other lives in the past, present, and future, all in the now. In my experience, it's all in the now anyway. So hypnotherapy is a really beautiful modality to get to the root of some of these systems that are in operation within us, that we've either chosen to experience or that we've just allowed our brain to kind of take over. So, for example, in terms of how I would relate to people in my relationships is very much intrinsically connected to how I used to relate to my relationships with my mother and my father, and I can see that now. So changing the programs that are running, changing the milk bottle collection that's going on. But yeah, thank you, ladies. Changing the way that we view things, becoming aware of how we view things, becoming aware of any potential programs that may be running throughout our system, becoming aware of any programs that we may have instilled based on how we've needed to survive from childhood, just becoming aware of all of that and recognising, do I want this to be part of my current experience as an adult now? Is this how I want to continue to perceive my reality? And just becoming aware of it and changing that is something that we can do in hypnotherapy. So has anybody come across hypnotherapy before? Quite a few people. So other than what I've just described, do you have an understanding of what it might be? Do you have an understanding of what the process is and what actually happens? Because if not, I can just explain that briefly.
Yeah, you explain that, that'd be great.
Yeah. So in hypnotherapy, it's about, and I don't proclaim myself as a healer, I just want to say that, but, you know, like I'm there to guide and support the person's own natural healing ability, just to make that really, really clear. So in a hypnotherapy session, you would potentially be sitting there in a very, very comfortable space. We would have gone through some things that you want to look at, some areas of thoughts that you want to look at, behaviours. Perhaps if you've got an aversion to going to the gym like me, or if you've got a love of eating like me, you might want to kind of address some of those things if it's out of control. So we would go into a very, very relaxed space. I would talk you through a process of just coming into this space, a bit like what Claire did in terms of just becoming present now and just allowing your brain to change out of the frequency that it's in. Because there's there's five, but there's four main frequencies, which is beta, alpha, theta and delta. And now I hope you're still in that beta state of alertness, you're awake and you can still hear what's going on. But hypnotherapy is kind of between that alpha and theta state, which is that sort of dream, like, you know, you're just drifting off to sleep, or you're just kind of waking up.